and I'm in the tactics tab. Yeah, so let's say you want to create your own tactic. You go down here, add tactic, create a new, open tactic creator. And this tactic creator is actually very friendly to beginners, because it explains everything pretty much, but it's not. I think I could go a little deeper. So the first screen you're gonna see is, or after you click next from the introduction, this is the first thing you'll see, and here is the formation you want to play with. Okay, so you got this list here. If you find something you think will work out for you, for instance 4-1-3-2, you can go ahead and do that, or you can just drag these two positions yourself. It doesn't really make any difference. It's just if you have some kind of weird formation you want to try out, like this for instance, would have been funny, you know. But let's go with this 4-2-3-1 style, or 4-3-3. Okay, now we're going into the playing philosophy step, and it determines how rigidly the players adhere to their playing positions, or to what extent attacking and defending are shared responsibilities. So what that basically means is, if you choose very fluid, then all your players are expected to contribute in all the phases of play. But if you're very rigid, you'll have your strikers, you know, you guys, you score goals, you stay there, and let the other guys take care of whatever else happens. And here's kind of the in the middle thing, you got balanced. Yeah, so my tip is to, you know, it depends on how you want to play, really. Just go with balanced, or try it out. You know, I haven't tried out all these, so it's basically a try thing. It's different for every team, so the players you have. Yeah, so the next step is the playing style. For instance, passing, you can choose shorter, default, and more direct. And more direct, well, more direct passing. And what this usually do is lead to more passes going to your opponent, you know, losing the ball, because players are forced to, you know, keep the pace going. But if you take shorter, the players will have a little more time, make the easy decision, instead of, you know, finding someone directly every time. Creative freedom, pretty easy stuff, you know, more expressive. You let your players decide more on their own what they want to do. More disciplined, you have got more of the control, but you won't, you know, you won't see those sick goals as much. Like Messi is a guy you should probably use more expressive, or if you got a player like Messi, you should choose more expressive, because he will do things like on his own. That's great. Okay, closing down, press more, stand off more, pretty much how tight you want your players to be on the other players. If you choose press more, you should be aware that this takes a lot of your fatigue, or makes your players fatigue much faster. But you got more of a chance of gaining the ball. And if you stand off, you will give the opposition a little bit more room to operate in, but your player won't be as tired at the end of the game. Tackling, more aggressive, more cautious. I usually go with default here, because more aggressive, you will get a lot of yellow cards and red cards, but if you're still getting it on default, I recommend you go to more cautious. Marking, zonal or man. This is just like if you choose man, all your players will have one man they're supposed to, you know, follow all the time. But if you choose zonal, the responsibility will change according to where the ball is on the pitch. So, like if your opponent's player are coming down here and your left back is supposed to and the setting is zonal, your left back will lay off if the player crosses over here, and the defensive responsibility will go over to the central defender there. So that's basically what that is. Crossing, float crosses or drill crosses. You know, this is more like short and long crosses, high or low crosses. You can choose about that. I think float is like the long crosses, and drill is more like the hard ones into the first post or something. Roaming, if you want to be strict on your players and make them, you know, stick to their positions, not travel too much out of where they're supposed to be according to the formation, you choose this one. But if you want them to be a little more unpredictable, you can choose more roaming. Okay, so that clears that up. Player roles. Yeah, so for the goalkeeper, you could choose goalkeeper or sweeper keeper. And what the difference is the sweeper keeper will be a little more keen on, you know, having the ball in his legs and being the first passing player out, like the playmaker all the way back, and he will be pretty offensive, you know. Okay, so the fullbacks, you can choose between fullback and wingback. Wingback is, if you choose wingback, your backs will be a little more offensive minded. Once again, it's all about what kind of player type you got there, you know. If you got a back who's pretty lame offensively, he's not too quick, he's not too technical, he's not too good at crossing, you should probably choose fullback. But if you got a player like Gareth Bale or, you know, Maicon, that's wingbacks all the way. You should use them for all they're worth, you know, to help you in your offensive game. Here's this defender roles. You can have one central defender, which is just a basic central defender, you know. He will do whatever, keep it, you know, simple, ball playing. If you got a central defender who's a little more technical, a little more good with the ball, can pass the ball, you should use this, because he can really, it could be nice to set up a play from your back four and start, you know, a good attack. But again, all depends on what players you have available. Limited defender, you should use this for someone who's really just that kind of rock in the central defense, who's just supposed to, you know, clear off the back line. And going up to the midfield, you got your central players here. You got a central midfielder, which is kind of the it's just a mix of everything, you could say. If you got someone who's good at everything, go for this. Deep lying playmaker. If you want a playmaker who's a little more relaxed, you know, isn't that attacking minded but can set up great plays, use deep lying playmaker. Ball winning midfielder, player like SEN, for instance. He's a great iron there in the middle. And what's important here is like tackling, heading, and pressing, I think. Yeah. Box to box, if you got a player who's both offensive minded and defensive minded, use this. He will then contribute in every part of the play, you know. He can do a good job on the defensive part and a good job on the offensive part. An advanced playmaker is someone who can operate, in the central midfield, attacking midfield, or wide forward positions. So it's like if you got a player like Messi who's really make the difference, you should put this role on him in whoever role you or position on the field you use him, if it's in the middle or out on the wings. Okay, so for the wings, you got a winger who's your basic winger. Giggs type of player was before, just running up and down, making that cross. An inside forward is more like, again, someone who can, cut in from the wings and score goals. Advanced playmaker, we talked about that. And a defensive winger, if you have a poor selection of wingers, but you want to use some anyways, this could be an option. Just figure it out. He will not be so offensive. Yeah, here you got a attacking midfielder, which is the default setting here. You can also have an inside forward there, but that's not too important right now. Yeah, Trequartista is kind of a playmaker too, but his main goal is to pass the ball through the defense and also be able to score goals. So I've tried players like Marek Hamsik in this position, and he worked out great. So the complete midfielder, offensive midfielder, you should use here. And then at last, it's the forwards you got. Deep lying, forward hold back a little. Advanced, there's so much stuff right here. So yeah, the target man, most used maybe in Football Manager, is one target man, one poacher. The target man will be the main aim point for the other players in their team. They will try to give him the ball up there, and the target man again will try to set up the poacher or score his own goals. Yeah, so just try it out, Player duties. Yeah, basically it just decides all your roles, if they should be attacking, defending, or supporting, or automatic. So if you know that you're going to use more of a defensive midfielder, you put that position on defend, and your other midfielder will join the attack. You use attack. It's as simple as that. So here's the strategy, and this is basically how your team will go out in the start. You can change this during the game for whatever situations you may end up in. I usually use control because I think but you have to have in mind what kind of team. If you're a poor team, you may be using a counter strategy, because if you're going all at attack, then against better teams you'll probably get some goals against. So yeah, I use control when I have a decent team. It kind of gives you that control over the game. You're not too attacking minded, but you're not defensive either, so you will score goals. So next is just saving the tactics, just write something in there and finish it.